Hey guys, welcome back to the Hampshire Business Show exhibitor interview series. And do you know what? This is a very special one today because I have interviewed Birak. I don't know how many times. Baldeep has exhibited at the Hampshire Business Show since the first show back in 2019. And we're having a little bit of a joke off camera talking about we should make a little montage for how me and him have
Yeah.
aged dreadfully over the years. And but look, it's another year. Baldeep, who is the managing director and founder of Birak IT. Baldeep, it's a pleasure once again to have you back on this
Thank you.
interview series. How's things?
No, it's been a pleasure. No, I appreciate it.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Well, Baldeep, look, I know we tend to start the same way every year, but what I will say is to anyone who's, I suppose, not met you before, just not really
Yep.
too sure on what Birak IT do. Do you mind just giving us a bit of an overview, if that's okay?
Yep. So to keep it simple, if you think we're using a computer to get online, from that computer, you need an internet connection. If you're in an office, you might have a cabled connection or a Wi-Fi connection and various other bits in between. And then the way we communicate over email or over video using Teams, Zoom, etc., and making phone calls, you know, whether that's a physical handset or using software on your computer, all of that has to work somehow. And that's even that doesn't even include your web presence, a website, etc. All of this is interconnected, and we just make it all work. So you don't have to worry about how to get all of this working. You want to integrate these things so they work streamlined. We do all of that. So uh,
That's awesome. Baldeep, how long have you actually been going? Because you've been going for a fair few years now, haven't you?
so we started in 2016, and next month will be our ninth anniversary or ninth birthday, as you want to call it.
Wow, almost a decade. Almost a
Yep.
decade. That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
really good. And so what just walk us through, I suppose, what types of clients that you work with. Is there any kind of industry that's specific or do you tend to work with clients
So
across kind of multiple industries and stuff?
so for us, it is multiple industries. We do have a decent number of solicitors. If we're going to go sector specific, but likewise, we've got a number of people in recruitment, and maybe that's because I've got a lot of connections in those fields because I've done a lot of work in those industries. But on the flip side to that, we do have a wide variety of skill sets, from finance, from healthcare, from care, the care industry, and generally it's small businesses. So, you know, if you think of anyone who's under 10 or 20 size businesses, that's the majority of what we do. So our solutions are streamlined to work for that smaller group, which caters for their budgets, caters for support that is responsive. Not, you're not a 50 size company, therefore you're not going to speak to you for 3 days. We respond to people that are that small because we're like that as well. We understand that everyone started from nothing. 9 years ago we weren't even existing either. So to go from me to a couple of engineers as well. In addition, we appreciate small business. So small businesses gravitate towards us quite easily because we speak each other's lingo and understand each other's pain points.
Yeah, and I completely appreciate that, Baldeep. And I think that's reflective in terms of the stuff I see you doing as well day to day,
Yeah.
kind of it's online and stuff like that. And, it's interesting because one of the things, we've spoken about it over the years in these interviews and in person and stuff, but I suppose compared to the first time I interviewed you back in 2019,
Yep.
I was going through similar set questions, do you think the challenges and problems that small businesses face these days when it comes to IT, has it changed much since the first conversation me and you had back in 2019, or are they fairly similar these days?
The way the really small businesses work hasn't changed too much. It has gone more local based to cloud based, and from this outset, when no one wanted to go cloud, we pushed cloud. So that has helped, meaning that the amount of hardware somebody needs has reduced. Therefore, the startup cost has considerably reduced, because you're not paying for a few servers, spending thousands just to even get going. So from that side, that um, that has enabled people to start. From the flip side, there's a lot of talk about cybersecurity, pen testing, etc. So there's loads of jargon going out there, and not everyone understands the lingo. And as a result, not everything that everyone says is relevant to every business. So, but on a flip side, you're a small business, and if you're in financial services, you need to get these certifications. If you're just a one-man band doing, you know making 20, 30, 40, 50K, you might not need various different systems. So, so I embrace some of the new things like cybersecurity, which we're qualified in Cyber Essentials Plus, which not many of our bigger players are, and so that we're ahead of the game. But we also make sure that the ones that aren't to that level, at least we can embrace their IT in a way that is kept secure and safe that way. But if we simplify IT, the average Joe just wants a computer that talks to a printer, that could scan, access email, and connect to a Teams or Zoom call. They don't necessarily know what servers are, what network devices are, etc. They want to keep it simple. So just understanding what the customer wants and giving them just a solution to that, rather than pushing your whole product range of A to Z out to them, is going to help the customer base. So that was the same message, I would say, 10 years ago as it is today. So just listen to your customer and see what they need and help them accordingly.
Listen to your customer. Definitely amen to that, Baldy. Definitely amen to
Yeah.
that. Now, Baldy, one thing that you're famous for across
Yep.
Hampshire, potentially the UK, potentially the world, is that green polo top that is almost like the Birak IT green. So
Totally.
can you? And I'll tell you why, because I've had so many comments. If I ever, because as you know, Hampshire Business you get loads of exhibitors, different
Yep.
businesses, etc. But if anyone wants to describe you, they'll always say,
Yep.
Josh, who was the chap in the green polo top? And I know straight away before they say another word who they're talking about. Is that strategic? Is that marketing, or is it just actually just chosen a pretty lovely
That
colour?
No, that was it's not my favorite color, but it was strategic, because the thing is, when you're a new business, everyone else is going navy blue, gray, or black in the industry. And, it's like entering in a room full of people with suits. If you're the one in jeans, you're going to stand out. You might be looked differently, but you're going to stand out. In our industry, everyone is wearing polo shirts and stuff like that. But so that is fine. You are going to get some stares, but people that are not the IT businesses and be like, oh, this one's different. Let's speak to them, see how they can help. So it does work. And anytime I do go to network events, like you just mentioned, it is mentioned. I didn't get to speak to you last time, but I had to come and see you. And in those conversations do happen. So, and it's not just once; it happens time and time again.
How
So,
about it? Maybe
uh,
maybe me and you should swap seats because clearly you're a marketing genius. But
thank you.
guys, look, it's I think what's really I suppose fulfilling for us, is obviously,
Mm,
we every year at Hampshire Business Show and business exhibitions in
Yeah.
general up and down the country. Of course, you get businesses that come along, they exhibit. Sometimes you see them again, sometimes you don't. But Baldeep has, as I said at the start, Birak IT have exhibited with us every year since
Yeah.
2019. So we really do appreciate the trust
Thank
and
you.
support you put in us, Baldeep. It really is
No.
much appreciated. And guys, you can meet Baldeep once again at the Hampshire
Yeah.
Business Show 2025 on Thursday, the
Yeah.
23rd of October at the Utilita Bowl in Southampton. And look, it's free to attend. There's zero charge,
Definitely.
and the value that I like to think, our attendees get from the show is tremendous. We've got,
Yeah.
you know, keynote talks, seminar talks, workshops,
Definitely.
networking, breakfast, plenty of opportunities to connect with other business leaders from across the Hampshire business community and beyond.
Yeah.
And you also get to meet incredible businesses like Birak RT as well. So, guys, register for your tickets. We'd love to see you. Come
Yeah.
and say hello to Baldeep on the day. He'll be just as you walk in, left corner. You'll be able to see it. It's
Yeah.
Baldeep's stand. He's had it every year since
Yeah.
2019. And Baldeep, and check out the green polo. And Baldeep,
Yeah.
thank you so much for your
Definitely.
time. It's a pleasure to have you
No.
back.
Thank you very much. No. No. See you at the event.
See you
Cheers.
there.